going on, ladies and gentlemen? We have the mid-season report here for the OFL. We'll be going through standings, stats, pretty much everything like that. We currently have, I believe, 12 coaches in the league, so if you're interested, I will leave the link to the server in the description, and you can become a head coach. So, let's look around the league, see what's going on. We'll go division by division. Starting with the AFC North, the Browns, they are a user. They are 6-2. And then the Bengals just got a new coach, so the Bengals are now a user. And they are 5-3, so both teams are doing pretty well. The AFC South currently does not have a user. The AFC East has one user, and that's the New England Patriots. They are 8-0, led by MVP favorite Jared Goff. Yes, this is a fantasy draft, by the way, so the rosters are totally different. AFC West, there is no users. Most of the users are in the NFC. In the NFC North, there is one user, that is the Green Bay Packers. They have a very solid young team, but they're not doing too hot currently. 2-5. NFC South, all four teams are users. The Atlanta Falcons are 7-0. They're looking really good. The Carolina Panthers, led by Wes Lunt, are 5-2. 5-1 when Wes Lunt starts. The New Orleans Saints, the team I am controlling, started off 0-4, but have won their last 3. And then the Buccaneers, who started 2-0, have lost 5 in a row. In the NFC East, there are no users. And then in the NFC West, the Cardinals are a surprise team. They're doing pretty well, 6-2. And then San Fran is 3-5. Looking at users projected to make the playoffs, they are the Patriots, that's the 1 seed. The Browns is the 2 seed. The Bengals would be the 5 seed, since they're not winning a division. And those are the only 3 teams in the AFC, and they're all projected to make the playoffs. In the NFC, the Falcons and Cardinals are the top 2 seeds. They're both users. Then at the 5 seed, Carolina, they are also a user. So 3 AFC teams and 3 NFC teams are all projected to make the playoffs. We'll be going team by team with stats, starting with Josh Allen, of course, at quarterback. He threw 6 interceptions in that opening game, so since then, 11 touchdowns to 2 picks. That is really solid. Running the ball, Dalvin Cook, 460 yards, 5 touchdowns. Not bad. Receiving, Mark Andrews leads in catches. DJ Moore looks like he leads in yards and in touchdowns, so DJ Moore's playing pretty well. Andrews is playing solid, so is Dante Pettis. Cortland Sutton currently does not have a touchdown, unfortunately. Blocking, I expect big things from our offensive line, and so far they're doing alright. Could be worse. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds leads in tackles. Jair Alexander and Mike Hughes very close behind, which, considering their cornerbacks, that's probably not a good thing. Sacks, Trey Flowers, 5.5. Myles Garrett has 5. And then on the interceptions, Tremaine Edmonds has 3. Jair Alexander has 2. Mike Hughes and Derwin James. The Bengals, as I mentioned, have a new coach. Their starting quarterback is Nick Foles. 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's playing pretty well. Running the ball, C.J. Anderson, 569 yards. Not a great yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. Receiving, Keenan Allen, very solid. But Doug Baldwin down here is doing really good. Over 60 yards a game, 8 touchdowns, about 500 yards. He's playing really well. Blocking, I forgot to look at blocking. I don't know who the Bengals have, so I guess this is new. David Bakhtiari is their left tackle. That's pretty good. So it looks like their offensive line's holding up pretty nicely. Byron Jones and KJ Wright leading tackles. Sacks, only 2 is the highest. Those are going to Justin Houston, Robert Ayers, and Chris Jones. Interceptions, only 2. So this Bengals defense does not look like they're doing too good. Ricardo Allen and Derek Kindred. Here's the Cleveland Browns, starting with quarterback Lamar Jackson. He is second in the MVP watch, and for good reason. 21 touchdowns to just 1 interception. He is playing phenomenal. Christian McCaffrey, not great. 3.7 yards a carry. I find it funny that Lamar Jackson's backup is Joe Flacco. Receiving, A.J. Green is dominating. 50 catches, 719 yards, 6 touchdowns. Evan Engram with 7 touchdowns, and Ted Ginn has 4. Blocking-wise, Jonathan Cooper, he sucks. He's allowed 7 sacks, and he's not even a tackle. Derek Johnson leads in tackles. Jamar Taylor close behind. Sacks goes to Joey Bosa, the number 4 overall pick in the fantasy draft. He has 5. Michael Johnson also has 5. And then interceptions, 2 for Kevin Byard, 1 for Jamar Taylor, Andrew Sendejo, and Marcus Sherrill. The Buccaneers starting quarterback is 62 overall. Danny Etling, 7 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Could be worse. Running the ball, Alvin Kamara, 542 yards, 4 touchdowns. He looks like he's doing all right. Receiving, our Darius Stewart leads in catches. Yards also goes to our Darius Stewart. Michael Thomas, he's been pretty quiet, but I guess that's because the Bucs don't really have much of a quarterback. Dwayne Allen leads in touchdowns. Blocking, Adrian Waddle, the former Lion, is allowing 10 sacks, so he's doing really bad. Telvin Smith leads the way in tackles. Sacks, only 2.5 is the lead. That is Tyrone Crawford. Cam Hayward also has 2. And then interceptions, 3 for Brett Grimes, 2 for Deion Jones, 2 for Desmond King, 2 for Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, and 1 for Adrian Amos. And remember, 6 of these were against the Saints. So the Cardinals are only like a 74 overall, but they are 6-2. And one of the main reasons why is this fella right here, Carson Wentz, 2,240 yards, 21 touchdowns, 8 picks. I believe he is third on the MVP watch. Running the ball, Leonard Fournette doesn't look like he's been doing too good. 3.5 yards a carry. That's really bad. Receiving, Kenny Golladay leads in receptions. Yards is Benny Fowler, barely over D.D. Westbrook. And then touchdowns, 5 for Kenny Golladay. So it looks like all the receivers are getting involved. Golladay, Westbrook, and Benny Fowler. David Njoku also doing pretty well. Blocking, 6 sacks from Sean Coleman, 4 from the rookie Mike McGlinchey. So the offensive line's doing all right. Defensively, Justin Reed, the rookie out of Stanford, leads in tackles. Sacks, 7.5 for Jason DeMonte. This guy is dominating. What is his rating? He is a 72. And he has 7.5 sacks. Good for him. Dewan Smoot, 3.5. Interceptions, 3 for Justin Reed. He's playing really well. 3 for Jonathan Joseph and 1 for Kamal Ishmael. The Atlanta Falcons are undefeated. They're playing really well. Looking at Big Ben, he's not actually doing that well statistically. Very good completion percentage, but only 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Running the ball, Devontae Freeman, 7 touchdowns. Jerick McKinnon has 10. And both of their yards per carries are looking pretty good. So the Falcons' run game has been playing really well. Julio Jones is dominating. 53 catches, 670 yards, 2 touchdowns. John Ross has 3 touchdowns. Mike Gesicki, the rookie out of Penn State, is playing pretty well. Offensive line only allowed 8 sacks, 6 of them from the veteran Terrence Armstead. Deion Buchanan leads in tackles. Sacks, Chandler Jones has 7.5. That's pretty darn good. And then interceptions, 1 for a number of players. Deion Buchanan, Trey Waynes, Ronald Darby, and Barry. Deshaun Watson is the 49ers quarterback. He's doing pretty well. 2,019 yards and 13 touchdowns. Running the ball doesn't look too hot. Jamal Charles, 3 touchdowns. Shady McCoy, under 3 yards a carry, which is horrific. Hayden Hurst leads in catches, and he also leads in yards for 25-year-old rookie. Corey Davis close behind in both of those categories. Touchdowns, 3 for Jeremy Maclin, 2 for Hurst, Corey Davis, John Brown, and Shady McCoy. On the blocking end of things, looks like it's going very solid. Nico Siragusa leading with 4 sacks. Isaiah Wynn, the rookie, only has 1, so that's good for him. Shaq Lawson, 73 tackles. Sacks, 5 from Brian Arakpo. Interceptions, 4 from Shaq Thompson. This might be a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season. Curious about his fumbles. And a bunch of players have 1. Tre'Davious White, Patrick Chung, Prince Amukamara, Sidney Jones, and Maurice Kennedy. Don't know who that is. So the Niners defense looks like they're doing really well. It's just their run game that's slacking. Look at the Green Bay Packers, led by quarterback Baker Mayfield, having a pretty good rookie year, even though his team is 2-5. About 2,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. He is the favorite for NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, but Josh Allen isn't too far behind. Saquon Barkley, only 262 yards. His yards per carry isn't bad. He actually has less carries than Theo Riddick. I guess he must have gotten hurt or something. Receiving, Tyler Lockett, 49 catches, 573 yards, 6 touchdowns. He looks like he is a man on a mission. Brandon Cook's also doing pretty well. Larry Fitzgerald at tight end does not have a score. Looking at the blocking, the second-year man out of Temple, Deion Dawkins, has allowed 6 sacks. Looks like their offensive line has been okay. Not great, but not bad. Blake Martinez leads in tackles. Shaquille Griffin close behind. Like I said earlier, that's not a good sign if you're a cornerback. Sacks, only 2.5 is the lead. That is Connor Barwin and Cameron Wake. Henry Anderson also has 2. And then interceptions only 4. Blake Martinez, Marcus Peters, DJ Hayden, and Landon Collins all have 1. Here's a look at the Carolina Panthers, of course, led by Wes Lunt. EJ Manuel started that first game, and he looks like he didn't do that bad, but obviously Wes Lunt is better. It's not really much of a contest. 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Wes Lunt for MVP, baby. Running the ball, I'm pretty sure Kareem Hunt has been injured, so that's why he only has 46 yards. Bilal Powell leads with 314. Buck Allen, 4 touchdowns. So running back by committee in Carolina. Dez Bryant leads in catches and yards. He looks like he's doing pretty well. Touchdowns, 2 for Dez Bryant, Will Fuller, and Philip Dorsett. Blocking. Donald Penn has 7 sacks allowed. He's not doing too great. Jake Fisher with 5. So the offensive line, could be worse. Terrence Mitchell leads in tackles. 18 catches allowed, by the way. Sacks, 4.5 for Lorenzo Alexander, 2.5 for Kenny Clark, 2 for Shane Ray. Interceptions, 3 for Kenneth Aker, and then 1 for Mitchell. The undefeated New England Patriots, led by Jared Goff, the favorite for MVP, 2,316 yards, 29 touchdowns, to just 4 interceptions. Running ball, Mark Ingram's looking really good, 625 yards, 4 scores. Receiving, Pierre Garçon, Jarvis Landry, each with 7 touchdowns, similar amount of receptions, and similar amount of yards. Actually, they're 3 yards apart. Blocking, Quentin Nelson is not allowed a sack. 4 from Nick Martin, 3 from Avante Collins, 2 from Cyrus Kouandjio, and, of course, Tyron Smith. Tackles goes to Corey Toomer, famously in the trade-up, which got the Chargers' Mason Conway in that series. Jordan Willis, 5.5 sacks. He's doing pretty good. And then interceptions, 3 for Eric Reed, 2 for Toomer, 2 for Vontaze Burfict, 2 for Tremaine Johnson, and 1 for Brandon Carr. Taking a look at the yearly awards, as I mentioned, these are the 3 favorites for MVP: Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, and Carson Wentz. Mark Ingram at number 5, and that's the only other user. Starting with AFC, Jared Goff, the favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson are other users. Defensive Player of the Year, Corey Toomer, Eric Reed, Derek Johnson, Vontaze Burfict, William Jackson, Jamar Taylor, and Tremaine Johnson are all in the running. Offensive Rookie of the Year, unshockingly, Lamar Jackson, only user. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Uchenna and Wosu. Don't see any users. Actually, there's one. Dane Cruikshank on the Bengals. Best quarterback, Jared Goff. Best running back, Le'Veon Bell. Best wide receiver, A.J. Green. Best offensive line, Tyron Smith. Best defensive lineman, Joey Bosa. So a lot of users so far. Best linebacker, Von Miller. Best defensive back, Eric Reed. And best kicker, Mason Crosby. Obviously, that would not happen in real life. Wink, wink. Offensive Player of the Year in the NFC, Jimmy Garoppolo. Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson are users. Defensive Player of the Year, Justin Reed. I knew he was having a good year, but that good? Shaq Thompson at number 2, very well deserved. I see multiple users there, including Tremaine Edmonds from my Saints. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Everybody here except for Ito Smith is on a user. And the Defensive Rookie of the Year is Tremaine Edmonds, despite Justin Reed being higher on Defensive Player of the Year. That's good for my team. A lot of users once again. Best quarterback, Carson Wentz. Best running back, Derrick Henry. Best wide receiver, Cole Beasley. I didn't finish scrolling running backs. There you go. Best wide receiver is Cole Beasley, somehow. Best offensive lineman, Rodney Hudson. Best defensive lineman, Cameron Jordan. Best linebacker, Shaq Thompson. Best defensive back, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. And best kicker, Robbie Gould. So that'll do it. Next episode will be a game, Packers and Patriots. So make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.
Hey, hey!